Today we're going to review an NFL mock draft. It's a one-rounder by PFF. We're going to go pick by pick, providing analysis with it. On top of that, we're going to see what the picks are like, see what's under the hood, see some market analysis on these players as we're getting closer to the NFL draft. Before we dig in though, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're looking at mock drafts, we're conducting mock drafts, we're looking at these players. We're going to have a lot of reviews after the landing spots, after the draft happens as well. So you're up to date on what your players look like. Click that button, stop missing out. Starting off here on the landing page of PFF, going down, looking at the draft, and going to the first pick. We all know who it's going to be. It's Cam Ward. Cam Ward is poised to be the first player drafted. After the pro day, it was cemented in, and he is the 101 in 99.9% of the mock drafts right now. I feel good about this selection. I feel like he is going to be a Titan. Good quarterback prospect. Not top tier compared to the top ones in last year's class, but a competitive player. However, I do like Abdul Carter, and I also like Travis Hunter, who's going to the Cleveland Browns here. So odds are they're not going Shedeur Sanders. We've heard that throughout the media, especially over at ESPN and Adam Schefter a few times, and we've talked about that. Cleveland Browns not going quarterback here, letting Shedeur Sanders fall, going Travis Hunter. And if you look at that depth chart, they got needs on both sides of the ball, and he's a premier player. And those are my top two players. With Travis Hunter going to the Browns, Abdul Carter still on the board. Coming down here, Giants select Shedeur Sanders. Very interesting selection here. There's rumors that they're not going quarterback. There's rumors that they're heavily interested in him. It's going to be interesting whether or not they pull the trigger on Shedeur Sanders. One side, you got veteran quarterbacks there that helped shape him up during the start of his career. You also got Malik Neighbors. On top of that, you're passing up on Abdul Carter to pick Shedeur Sanders. That's a hard thing to do. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Coming down here, Abdul Carter going to the Patriots. It's hard seeing a world where he falls to 4. It's very hard. We could see a trade up here. No matter what, you got to make the selection whether you need him or not. You could be jacked with 3 edges. You're still taking him or trading back. But it's not like you're going to take somebody over him if he's there at this spot. Abdul Carter going to the Patriots because you have to at this point. The top or second best player in the draft depending on your board. But he's up there. He's a blue chip player. A player that you don't get in every draft, and if you're lucky to get a player like this, you just take him and figure it out or make that trade. Jacksonville goes Mason Graham, defensive lineman from Michigan, boosting up that interior defensive line. And the Raiders go Jeanty Barron, and he's been rising throughout the process. I don't know if he's my number 1 corner. I like Will Johnson a lot, but the Raiders patching it up at cornerback right here. Getting Jeanty Barron. We've seen that in a few mock drafts so far. There's other players on the board they could have went. They could have went Ashton Jeanty. They could have went Edge. They went Barron here. Let me know if you like this pick for the Raiders. Tyler Warren to the Jets. And looking at that pick, it fits the team. It fits what they need. There's other players on the board on defense, though. Tyler Warren going to the Jets is going to help the passing offense. There's a lot of good talent on the defensive side of the ball, though, that you're passing up on. Do you need it? Absolutely. That's debatable. Do you absolutely need Tyler Warren? That's debatable. There's a lot of good talent left on the board. Coming down here to 8, the Panthers go Jalen Walker. Solid player. Solid player to grab here. It's going to give your defense some upside. Now, going to 9, Jackson Dart going to the Saints. There's a lot of good players. I understand quarterback and what came out with Carr, and maybe that's what's changing things up here, and that's why quarterback's coming up the board. We're also hearing rumors that Dart's a first rounder. We just can't peg where he's going to go and who's going to make that selection. But we've had drafts like this a few years ago where we had a few guys slotted to go in the first round. A lot of those guys went later in the draft. Will Levis was slated to be a top 10 guy, fell to the second round. The media got duped. So that does not mean just because the media is starting to select these quarterbacks higher, that does not mean they're going to go higher. There's a lot of talent on the board right now. On the defensive side, like I said with the other picks, wide receiver. There's a lot of talent on the board that could help this team. But if Carr's injury is actually a huge concern and they value Dart close to Shedeur, and if Shedeur falls, this could be Shedeur in the real NFL draft. But all in all, if this is a huge concern right now with Carr, then I could understand making this move, because what else are you going to do? Unless you go with a veteran and just patch it up and try and get through the season. Now at 10, Ashton Jeanty to the Bears. The Bears are built for Ashton Jeanty. I don't know if he's going to fall this far. I don't know if someone's going to trade up to get ahead of the Bears to get him. But the Bears are built for him. And that would be a good landing spot for both parties. For Caleb Williams, for Ashton Jeanty, they're building for this pick, and they can go numerous different directions too in this year's draft. I believe they're going to win this year's draft unless they really mess it up. It's hard. They got 3 picks in the first 2 rounds. I believe the Bears are going to come out big winners from this year's draft, from where they're slated at to in the draft. Things are going to fall to them. Armin tackle from Missouri, going to the Niners. We've mocked offensive tackle to the Niners a lot. Other sites have too. And I agree with this. He's highly athletic, good motor to him. I think this is a good pick for the Niners. There's a rumor that they're looking to make some moves. They got a lot of picks in this year's draft. Don't be surprised if they do something this year's draft that's a little bit of a head scratcher when it comes to trades, moving up here and there and throughout the draft. Cowboys go T-Mac, getting that big body wide receiver to push it downfield, and that'll be a good wide receiver to match with CeeDee Lamb. And that's a good sexy spot for the Cowboys, a sexy spot for T-Mac. There's a huge drop-off at wide receiver, so when they're picking again in the second round, that next wide receiver, odds are, is not going to make an impact for them as much as T-Mac would right here. It's actually a good landing spot for both parties. Good for Dak or whoever's going to be quarterback in a few years. Will Campbell going to the Dolphins, solid prospect. Solid prospect going to Tua, helping keeping him upright. Campbell, one of the top offensive tackles in the class, and we've mocked offensive tackle to the Dolphins before. I think this is a no-brainer selection for them. If Will Campbell falls this far, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes higher. I would not be surprised if there's a trade-up in this area to get Campbell if this scenario happens where Jackson Dart gets selection, and now we got a windfall of players starting to fall where talent's going to be there in the teens. Jack Campbell going to the Colts. Now, he could go to the Cowboys. He could go a little bit higher than expected. He's been a riser throughout the process. Linebacker, something you can patch up in the second round, too. There is some talent there in early third round. But still, Campbell's a difference maker going to the Colts. Falcons go edge, Shamar Stewart. Some mocks have him higher than others. And in the simulator, Stewart's actually a little bit lower than this. Solid edge. Solid edge. There's some other edges I like. Edge is fairly deep throughout the first round of this year's draft. Will Johnson, him going 16 is criminal. Really depends on the workout. But Cardinals getting Will Johnson, this is a hell of a value. Hell of a value. The boy can play. The boy's solid. He's a standout corner. He's going to be on the field making plays for you for a long time. Bengals go Mike Green. Hell of a value. So the quarterbacks, the way this happened is just allowing a windfall of talent to fall. Mike Green's pushing top 10 talent. We all know this. He's been a riser since before the Senior Bowl. Has a high motor. This is a good value for the Bengals. Anybody getting him, he can go to all 32 teams, damn it. Because he's that good of a player, and he's at a money position where you just take it. Seattle goes Donnie E. I like Donnie E. I like Donnie E. This mock drafter likes Donnie E. I like him too. I don't like it when he falls too far in the draft. I think he's going to be a standout edge. I think he's going to be solid. I think he's going to have a long career in the NFL. Going to 19, Tampa Bay goes Malachi Starks. Starks is a solid prospect, top 10 talent, and he's fallen in mocks. And honestly, with how the board is and how much we got talent at offensive tackle and edge, that could push him down a little bit, and that's fine. But I do like Starks a lot, and I think this is a great fit for the Bucs here, getting Starks. And if you're mocking for fits, obviously a guy like Starks to the Bucs is what you're going to do. That's just a perfect fit there. Coming down the line here, Broncos go Colston Loveland. We just picked up Evan Ingram. There's wide receivers on the board. We could go running back. Defense, their defense is strong, but you can always be stronger. Colston Loveland's a damn good tight end. You can run 2 tight ends in this scheme. It'll fit what Bo Nix does. I love the talent, though. Evan Ingram might not be there forever. And Colston Loveland's a talent at tight end that you're not going to really get almost every year. So I can get it. Position-wise, there's other talent on the board that you may want to look at considering you got Evan Ingram. But Colston Loveland, if you want to run 2 tight ends, or once Ingram's done with his contract, Colston's really going to be ready to be the guy. That's something to think about. 21, Jalen Milroe to the Steelers. We're starting to see him mocked a lot in the first round. We're starting to see that. I saw Mike Mayock's mock. He's got the Giants trading up from the second round to the first round to get Milroe in front of all the teams that have quarterbacks, which didn't make sense. Jalen Milroe steaming up. Do you think that's valid? Do you think that's true? Do you think that's going to happen? He's a developmental quarterback prospect with a lot of good traits when it comes to athleticism and a strong arm. Needs to develop rapidly. Will he ever be the guy in Pittsburgh here? Who are they going to bring in through the offseason at quarterback? Jalen Milroe in the first round. Throughout the whole season, I thought that was going to happen. And now it's starting to steam up over these last few days. That is something that I'm looking at hard right now. Kenneth Grant, Michigan defensive tackle, going to the Chargers. Interior defensive line. Solid talent. Solid talent. Harbaugh getting one of these Michigan players. I would not rule that out. He falls in the second round in some mocks, and I don't see him as a second round talent. He should be in the first round. Damn good talent. Going to the Chargers. Michael Williams, edge, going to the Packers. Another good talent. I think he slid too far. I think he's a little bit more valuable than this, but we had some weirdness in this draft, and that's going to push a few players down. It just is. And the money shots are coming. Gray Zabel to the Vikings. Killed it at the Senior Bowl. Very stout interior offensive line / tackle, but mostly interior offensive line here. That's really going to help you out. You can move him around the offense. You can move him around that line. He is a solid FCS player as well. Texans, go. Kelvin Banks. I like him. Banks sometimes falls to the second in the mock draft simulator. I always draft him no matter what teams I'm drafting him with. But I like Banks a lot. Hell of a talent. Really going to help that offensive line. Going to help C.J. Stroud out. There's offensive tackle talent left on the board too that I like. Trey Amos is one of my guys. When I talk about mock drafts and when I'm doing the simulator and I'm pushing that out Sunday mornings to you guys with those 7-rounders, every time I have to talk about Trey Amos one way, shape, or another. James Pierce going to the Ravens. Now, Sunday, I mocked James Pierce to the Ravens because he fell to me, and I had to make that pick. He's a 15-ish, 12-ish talent, somewhere around there, top 10-ish guy, somewhere around there, 15 to 10 range type of talent. This is a hell of a value, just nice speed coming off the edge. Ravens got a gift. They got a gift. Detroit, Nick Gordon, edge. Haven't seen that name too often. Solid player going to the Lions. I've seen him mocked prior, especially earlier throughout the process. 29. Washington goes Maxwell Hairston from Kentucky. He's been a huge riser. Solid cornerback prospect if you want to go that route. Walter Nolan, Bills. Going to there. That's a solid prospect who's been just rising. I would actually expect him to be drafted a little bit earlier than this. Just that push up front in the interior is highly valuable. And I could see teams coveting that. And I can see teams trying to trade around, trying to get that. I just don't see him falling. But he's been falling in mocks. Like, people don't know where to place him. I think he's going to have more value than what people are giving him. Josh Simmons to the Chiefs. This is a hell of a value. He's got top 10 talent coming back from that knee injury. I don't know if that knee injury is going to give the NFL that much of a discount. I think he's going to be drafted a little bit higher. Should, unless the draft gets weird because we had 2 extra picks going to quarterbacks. Josh Simmons is a damn good talent going to the Chiefs. The Chiefs and Eagles are going to get damn good players coming their way. Here we go. Nick Emery, South Carolina. He's been a riser. They're getting a stud safety. They're spending a lot on this backfield in the last 2 drafts. But still, talent is going to fall to the Eagles. That is my main thing. Talent is going to fall to the Eagles on the defensive side of the ball too. But the wide receivers got slept on. The wide receivers. I don't think I remember saying Luther Burden, Mika Buka. I don't remember seeing that. I only think I saw one wide receiver if you're not counting Travis Hunter, and that's T-Mac coming off the board. Golden's not drafted. That's it for the mock. That's it for the mock. That is it. There's the whole thing in its entirety right there. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Of course, I'm not going to agree with all their picks. But again, this draft is going to be kind of crazy. Teams are going to be trading around, trading up, trading back. There's a lot of talent on the defensive side of the ball. We got to get some answers done at quarterback. Quarterback might fall. It might steam up. We got to see what happens there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.